Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Knowledgeable Nurse. Today, I am interviewing the wonderful Jasyra. I went to school with Jasyra. We graduated together. So now Jasyra's on another route here, and it's so different. I don't know if y'all even ready for what we're about to talk about today, but I'm just going to let Jasyra tell her story. And yeah, let's just get into it.
All right. So yeah, it's been a while. We were just actually just talking about it's been 10 years since we graduated from college, which is crazy.
Oh, it's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. So I literally just turned 32 years old. I am from Philadelphia and I started my journey in nursing. I honestly thought that was my career. I actually wrote a paragraph when I was in 8th grade saying I wanted to be a NICU nurse. So it was just something that I just always wanted. I wanted to care for patients. I just love stethoscopes. Like everything about nursing was just, I was really excited. And even going into college, I actually didn't major in nursing in the very beginning. I wanted to be a doctor. So my major was actually biology.
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. But as becoming an orientation leader, they put me in a nursing environment. Like I had nursing students and I just talked to all of them and I was like, why am I becoming a doctor? I really wanted to be a nurse. My mom literally took out that essay and she was like, you never wanted to be a doctor, you wanted to be a nurse. So I transitioned into nursing. And the funny thing is that we went to a Catholic college.
Yes.
So one of the sisters, she was my what do you call them, advisor.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she was my advisor. Yeah, and I told her, I was like, I want to switch into nursing, and she was like, are you crazy? She was like, this late in the year. It was actually my freshman year. It was freshman year, but it was the second semester, so I had already took about 7 to 8 classes of biology my first semester because I was a go hard or go home. I took all those classes. And she was like, it's impossible, you're not going to graduate on time. And I was like, you know what? We're going to give it a try.
Yes.
She said there wasn't no one ever who did biology and nursing together as far as like taking our microbiology, like the sciences with nursing together. Because I don't know, like probably about you, you did your primary like science and then your nursing.
Yes.
I had
Yes.
to do both. So she was like, that's impossible, you're going to fail. And I was like, I'm just going to give it a try.
Exactly.
So I did, and I proved her wrong. But yeah, it just was like I just went into nursing. You already know how difficult Newman was. It was like the hardest nursing program. I feel like you needed a 77 to pass. So yeah, and then we graduated. I was super excited to become a nurse, but I struggled to find a job for like 9 months. Everything that was in my area said you needed experience, and I'm like, hello, I just graduated, like what's going on? um, so one day I actually found a job, and it was called like a new to practice nurse. So it was like, oh, that's me. So I applied, and the day of the interview, it was actually like a weird interview. It was, you sat like in a chair, and then managers just come to you and interview you. So it was like trying to figure out what unit should we put you in and if we like you.
Okay.
Um, and
Wow.
yeah. And it was, sadly, I didn't get into the unit that I really wanted to because I was Hispanic. So they initially was like, I need you for the Hispanic floor. You talk Spanish, so we're going to put you here.
Wow.
That put me up. Like that put me to the point where I had a job because out of all those people there weren't that many people who knew Spanish.
Yeah.
Um, so I landed a med surge unit, which was not one of my priority places to work at, because during clinicals I hated med surge, to be honest. I just did not like it. I wanted to be specialty.
Yes.
but but at the time, when student loans is knocking on your door, you got to take whatever. So I took it. And to be honest, it was just exactly how I thought it was going to be. It was very difficult. It was very stressful. Our unit was filled with also psych patients. So it was just a lot of craziness, as I can say. I would literally every single day, like after like my first year, I would sit down on the computer for any little second that I had a break and try to find another internal job. I was not happy. I was not satisfied. I was like, this is not what I want to do. And I thought that finding a different unit was going to be better. So I was like, all right. I wanted to go to graduate school. I wanted to become a CRNA. And for those of you who don't know what that is nurse anesthetist school. So I looked at, okay, I need to be in the ICU in order to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the initiative and I seen all, I seen some openings, but I took the initiative and went downstairs because that's where our ICUs are. And I introduced myself to the manager and I was like, I'm Jasyra. I want to work here. I work in med surg. I'm ready to learn something different. And and that helps. Like, ladies, if you are really trying to find a different, be in a different unit in your same hospital, introduce yourself to the manager, because that's literally how I've got all my different jobs we'll talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I interviewed literally that day because there was an opening. Wow. And she was like, I want you. So then I transitioned to the ICU. And in the very beginning, I would tell you I loved it because it was so different from med surg. You go from 6 patients to 2 patients. And and half of the time they don't talk to you. So, sadly, they're so sick and intubated, they don't talk to you. But again, after like a year or so, I noticed that all the patients that were from my med surg ended up in my ICU. And then it was just kind of the same experience. It was once they were extubated, they were rude to you, and it was a lot of psych people. And I was like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And I was in school during the time. I was in CRNA school. And I literally had a year left to the point where I couldn't work anymore. Because, to be a nurse anesthetist, you can't work anymore. So I took a risk and I started to look for another job. And again, remember, we go back into that essay. I wanted to be a NICU nurse all my life. Absolutely all my life. And that day I sat down to look for jobs. A NICU position was open.
Oh my God.
So, and it was part-time. And during that time, I actually created a whole side hustle. I started a side hustle in, I believe it was 2013. So I was still in that med surg position when I had that side hustle. And my side hustle was with a network marketing business. I was helping people lose weight, with teaching them how to work out, how to eat better. So I was doing that. So when I seen it was part-time, I was like, you know what, this might be perfect for me because it'll give me more time to build my business. And, I'll be doing something that I really want. And at that point, I was completely burnt out. I was like 2 days a week out of 3 days a week. It sounds like it's a huge difference though. Yeah. Like at first it was like, it wouldn't be so, but it literally it felt so different working 2 days. So again, I took the initiative and I went downstairs and I introduced myself and I got an interview and she hired me on the spot. And I literally told her my entire story. I was like, I brought my essay because my mom still had it. And I was like, look, I've always wanted to be a NICU nurse. And I got the job. And I absolutely loved it. I loved NICU nursing. The crazy thing is, to the point where I reached it, I was just over it. I was completely burnt out. And then my anxiety, we didn't talk about my anxiety, but I was diagnosed with anxiety my senior year of nursing school. So it started with nursing.
And I can see why. We went through the same program. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was diagnosed that senior year, and it was actually the critical care class. That teacher, she gave me real bad.
She was a tough one.
She won't say any names, but
yeah, we won't do that.
she gave me real bad anxiety, and I actually lost my uncle, who was like my father figure, via suicide. So it was the combination of how crazy nursing was and losing him. I had to be put on medication. I even took classes at the ARC, which for us was taking tests in a room by yourself, because I was just getting distracted. A pencil would drop. Like, maybe I have slightly ADD too. I don't know. But my anxiety to that point got so bad, just like walking into the hospital doors, I had to breathe and be like, Jasyra, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna have a good day. And then with babies, it's a completely different than adults. And when you have high risk pregnancies, all NICU nurses have to go to the room or go to the C-section. And that's what used to give me really bad anxiety. I was like, how about if I don't know what to do when this baby is maybe stillborn? Or I used to create so many things in my head. And that's when my business started getting better. So I had that goal of like, you know what, I'm just gonna work this business so hard so that I could like leave nursing. And because I contributed nursing with anxiety. And I was like, you know what, like I need to get myself out of this position. Even though I love cuddling the babies, walking into those hospital doors was like, I just like, I can't do it. I need to be happy, and I need it, you know, to really take care of my mental health.
Yes.
So I worked my booty off. And April of 2016, I eliminated 72K of debt, which was completely all my nursing school loans. Um, and that was literally, I was like, I have to do this first before I leave nursing. So I worked really hard and did that. And then I talked to my husband and I was like, you know what? I'm making pretty good money with this side hustle. I was like, I want to leave nursing. So June of 2016, I officially left, pieced out of nursing. I retired I was actually 27 years old when I left nursing. And it was a scary decision, especially with other nurses saying like, are you crazy? Why are you leaving nursing? You went through this intensive program and you're not using your license. It was like a lot of tension. Yeah, a lot of back and forth, but it didn't stop me. Like the only thing that really scared me was like, oh, how about my insurance or something? But I was like, I have a husband, I'm fine, I'll
I know
have
that's right.
his
Use his insurance.
yeah, I was like, I'll use his insurance, I'll be fine.
Yes.
So yeah, I took the plunge and I left nursing. And at first, I started to just solely just really full time do my business.
Okay.
So my business was network marketing with Beachbody, for those of you who know Beachbody. And that network marketing business is what helped me make that income to eliminate that debt. And to the point, I was actually making the same amount that I was making with nursing.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was another thing that was like, why am I in nursing? It was nice to have that extra money because imagine like side hustle money and nursing money.
Nursing money, yeah,
It
yeah,
was great,
comfortable. Yeah.
but not for my sanity. So I was like, okay, you know, it was. So that's what I did. I helped people lose weight online or build muscle. I sold supplements and all that stuff. And I did that until 2019, August of 2019. And I still kind of do that on the side, but I had this passion for anxiety because anxiety has always been a part of me. I've struggled back and forth for 10 plus years with anxiety. And throughout, from the beginning of being diagnosed, I have always strived to find natural ways to help it, to control it, to manage it, because I was on medication. I was on 4 different medications,
Oh.
not all at the same time, but it's because every single one of them made me sick. Like it just gave me some different side effects. I think my body just rejects everything.
Mm.
So throughout those years was finding different things, acupuncture, CBD, and like all this stuff I just started to do. And August of 2019 was when I was like, I think I should really incorporate anxiety into my business, because I also realized I help women lose weight. I noticed that a lot of them had anxiety because they kind of gravitated to me because they're like, oh, she has anxiety, she understands.
Yeah.
So literally all my clients had anxiety. And when their anxiety got bad, they would stop working out. And I was like, there's something missing in here. I'm like, I'm not a therapist, but I know how to, you know, I know how to control my own. I said, so maybe I should help them so that they don't stop giving up on their workouts and stuff. So I took from, I would say actually this pandemic was actually what pushed me to create a program called Fit Mind Body Blueprint. That we literally teach you, well, I teach you how to manage and control your anxiety on top of helping you, because I am a personal trainer. We do workouts, and I do a meal plan for you, have grocery, like, you know, you have everything that you need to really just feel better mentally and physically, which is why it's called Fit Mind Body Blueprint. So yeah, I transitioned to anxiety with fitness. I also have my own podcast because I like to educate people about anxiety and also just really show how I have a lot of episodes on there with like women with ADHD and how they build a business. So basically, like your mental illness does not define you. Like you can still be successful.
Yes.
Um, and throughout that route of trying to better my own anxiety, that's when I became a cannabis consultant. Um, January of 2019, I just started having panic attacks again. And I don't even know why. It was just out of nowhere. And now that I really think about it, it was actually my birth control. That's like another story.
Perfect. Yep.
But I had a really bad hormonal imbalance. It was causing me panic attacks. And I didn't want to be on medication, but guess what? I went to the doctor. They're like, "Oh, let's put you on Zoloft," and I was like, "Oh no." Um, so I educated myself on cannabis, and I was thinking, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, I want to do it legally. So I became a medical marijuana patient myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day I used it, I felt great. Like I was like, wow, like as nurses, I used to have that stigma on it. And I used to be like, oh, they smoke weed and all that stuff. And I was like, that's bad for you. Or because the government makes you feel like it's a bad thing, it's a drug. But when I became a patient, I finally had 8 hours of sleep, and my anxiety was lessened, and my stomach problems got better. Like every little thing that I was having issues with got better. So I started to share it, even though I was kind of scared, like, oh God, I didn't think that I'm a pothead or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just that type of person that shares everything. I love to share my life, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. So as I shared it, a lot of people were asking me, how did you get your card? How did you do this? How do you do that? And I was like, oh, you know what? Let me just add that to my resume.
I know that's right.
So I became a cannabis consultant. So on top of helping people with anxiety and fitness, if you want to legally become a patient, I would help you, but not only help you, I would teach you how to safely consume it with, for anxiety. Because there are strains that cause panic attacks. So with an anxiety disorder, you don't want to try something that's going to give you a panic attack. So I feel like I'm probably the only anxiety cannabis consultant out there, because I've came across so many people who were patients who were like, oh God, this strain gave me anxiety. I had no idea that this would happen. So that's kind of with my experience, I decided to do that as well. So I'm like, jack of all trades. I like to do so many different things. But yeah, I think it still comes with, my passion for nursing and my passion for helping people. So it's like really, I think my drive was like preventing people from going to the hospital. And that's what I love to do now.
Oh, this is amazing. 'Cause it's so different. So let me ask you a question now. Do you think you will ever go back to practicing at the bedside?
Absolutely not. And I get that question so much. I get it all the time. Like, and being a business owner is hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard because like you work for your money. Like if you're not up doing something, you're not making money. And it is scary. Like, but there's nothing in the world. Like I was like, sometimes, when maybe I have a bad month, which is not really a bad month, but I'm like, you know what? I would drive for Uber. I would not
We'll
go
make
back
money
to
somehow, for real.
yeah, I would do absolutely anything else but nursing. Like,
I don't blame you. And I want to go back to, you mentioned that you were in school to become a nurse anesthetist. So can you talk about how that experience was with working and you're doing your business? Like, how was that?
Oh yeah, like sometimes I think about that and I'm like, how did I do all of
Yeah,
that?
that's a lot.
Yeah, so I was an ICU nurse working full time. I had this side hustle that I did at home, which were basically the days that I had off that I would do it. And then CRNA school, I believe I was taking 3 classes a semester, 2 to 3 classes a semester. I would try to do some online, but I don't know, for those of you that do online classes, they're much harder. So they give you much more work. So I, decided to go into class. I actually went to LaSalle University, which was, I felt very comfortable there because I felt it was really similar to Newman. So the teachers were really nice. The classes were small like Newman, so it was like really good. But when you are doing all of that, it's all about time management. Because on actually the year that I started school, I was planning a wedding too. So it was a lot of stuff at once. So I really had to prioritize what was important. Obviously, like I do time blocking, if anyone knows how to do that. But I would literally open up my calendar of like the week and be like, okay, my priorities are obviously work because I have to be there.
Yes.
So it was work. And then on my days off, I would, depending on if I had a test or something, I would do school first. And then I would do my side hustle. And then I had a little help with my wedding. I had a wedding planner and stuff like that. So it was a lot, but when I think about it, I was like, how did I make that happen? Like, it's crazy because now I feel like I don't have time and I have all the time in the world. But I feel like when you have that drive and you really want to like make things happen, you figure it out. And I don't know, I just figured it out. But time management and setting priorities is what really helped me to do all that at once. Did you have questions about like the school, like CRNA school?
So even the program too, like if you could just tell us a little bit about the program.
So the program was intense. When I first interviewed, I actually had, I believe it was a 2-part interview.
So you had to go to school.
Yeah, yeah. So CRNA school, they only, at least the one that I went to, only accepted 20 students a year. So I had to write, I believe it was a position, like they took my resume. I had to write an essay, and the essay, I honestly don't remember what the essay was about, but it's probably like, why did I want to be a nurse anesthetist? I think that's what it was. So I worked really hard on that essay. And also, again, I think because I'm Puerto Rican, because I speak Spanish, it really did push me into there. So they read my paper and my resume, and then I had to go in for an interview. And then the interview was with, I would say, 4 different people, which was like the director, some of the teachers, and then I think there was a student there.
Okay.
And they asked me basically, like literally, if you Google CRNA interview questions, it was like to the point. And I'm glad that I did that. I prepped myself. And it was like, why did you want to be a CRNA? How did you do in your classes? And then they asked you a little bit about school. I literally have the question somewhere because I gave it to someone. They were like simple questions, tell me about you, stuff like that. And what pushed me was actually what helped me even more, even being Hispanic, was that I was already taking prerequisites. I would like, they were like, she took the initiative.
Yeah.
So I went into LaSalle as undecided, but I wasn't undecided. It was because I wasn't accepted yet to that program. So I had took already like 6 classes before I got that interview. And they were like, wow, like you just took the initiative to just take the classes even though you didn't get accepted. And I was like, yeah, because this is what I want to do. And then I had a really good GPA, had a 4.0 GPA already. So that helped me too. And then I would say a week later, I got the letter and said that I got accepted. And it was such like, it was, again, I felt like, oh my God, finally, like I get to do something different. Cause I was at the time, I was tired of bedside nursing. And I was like, yes, like I was so excited. But yeah, CRNA school is very intense, especially trying to do it with a full-time job. But you get to do your prerequisites while you work. And then the last 2 years, you basically have to quit your job and figure out how financially you're going to support yourself. LaSalle actually allows you to work like part-time, but like literally like hardly any hours. So it's like maybe work on the weekends, but it's kind of like impossible because of the intense of clinicals and the hours you have to put in. And you literally go to class, well, at least LaSalle was like Monday through Friday. They even made you come in on a Tuesday that was study time. Like they made sure you studied. And it was a great program because I think the reason why they made you come in to study was because they literally want you to pass. They
Yeah.
don't fail anyone. Like, unless you're like really like real messed up, like,
Mhm.
but they don't fail anyone. But it's a very intense program. And yeah, you have to interview to get in there. I do believe every program is very selective as far as like only accepting 20 to 25 people each year. Um, but it was a good experience. It really was. But I was burnt out, and I knew I was like, nursing is not for me. So to the point where I knew I had to quit my job. It was like quit my job for CRNA school or quit my job for my business. And at that point, my business was doing so well that I was like, I need to give my business a try. And if it plumps, I can go back to nursing and do CRNA school. Because I talked to the director. I told him, I was like, I want to quit. And he was like, you want to quit? Like, he thought I was scared. And I
Mm.
was like, no, I'm not scared. I'm, I build a business, and, I think right now it's thriving. And if I don't take the plunge now, who would know? And he actually supported me, and he was like, look, I support you. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't want to leave because you were scared of
Yeah.
this. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, no, I just want to try this out. And if it doesn't work out, I'll reapply. And he was like, your spot is safe here if you want
Oh.
to come back. So
Mhm.
yeah, 4 years later, I ain't go back.
So obviously everything is working out for your good. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So what advice would you give for somebody who is in your position now, who's working on their business is growing, but they're in nursing or they're in any profession and they're deciding, okay, you know what, I don't know what I should do. Like, what advice would you give that individual?
I would say take that leap of faith and just do it. But not to the point where you're not making money in your business. Like, you need to make sure that you can support yourself. So
Mhm.
if you're making enough money to pay your mortgage, pay your rent, and pay your bills, and maybe you have a spouse and you're like, I can make this happen, just do it. And if you're not at that point, then work your ass off to the point where you can pay those bills so that you can quit.
Mhm.
Because taking that leap of faith was the best thing that I ever done. Because if I would have let my anxiety stop me, or what people told me that I wasn't gonna succeed, because trust me, I had so many people like, this girl's gonna go back to nursing, and it was a lot of like back and forth with people thinking that I wasn't gonna succeed. If you listen to all those things, you're gonna continue to be miserable, because you probably love your business and you
Mhm.
probably hate your job at this point. So just go for it. And you can always go back to nursing if you want it, or drive Uber, like I said.
That's true. Also, where could people find you if they have any questions and want to know more?
I am all over social media. That is like the perks of being a business person. You got to be everywhere. So I am on YouTube. My name is Jasyra Santiago-Hines. On Instagram is my jam. That's where I really spend most of my time. My Instagram is fit4ARN, literally spelled fit for ARN. My website is lovefitbyjasyra.com. And I have a podcast on Apple as well as Google Play and Spotify, and it's called She Hustles.
And I'm going to make sure I put all of that down in our description box so you guys can just click links and get it done. Jasyra, thank you so much for sharing your story, because it's so different and nobody thinks outside the box when it comes to retiring as nurses, especially at our age. Nobody's thinking about retirement right now, but you did it, and you doing it, girlfriend. You handling
Thank
that.
you. Thank you so much.
So everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.